In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use 2 or 3 of Excel's other basic functions. We've seen how to use the sum function to automatically add up a column of figures. We've also seen how to create a formula from scratch. We've seen to create an addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. And in this lesson, we're going to look at finding the average, the minimum and the maximum. So as you can see on my Coffee Island workbook now, I have the items that I'm selling across the top of the list now, and down the left I've got the functions I'm going to test. This way we can see exactly what we're doing. So the first thing we're going to do is I'd like to find out the average set value of sales of cappuccino across Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday of this particular week. And then I want to do the same for each of the other drinks. So I'm going to use the function called average. And again, there are 2 ways to get there, and there's a third way to type it as well. I can come up to the auto sum icon on the home ribbon and choose average from here, or I can go to the formulas button and underneath the big auto sum icon I can choose average from here, or indeed I could type it onto the spreadsheet. I'm just going to choose it from here. I'll choose average because that's what I want to do. And the first thing you'll notice is that it places an equal sign and the word average into the cell. Remember, equals tells Excel we're going to calculate. Average is the name of the calculation we're going to do. And then it's opened up some brackets, and inside the brackets it's picked up some numbers and it's actually picked up the cell referencing. And in this instance, it's saying go from C12 to C18. The reason it's done that is we're in the first column. There are no numbers to the left. Remember, Excel looks to the left before it looks up. And it's looked up the list and it's found a number. And then it's found a blank row. And that means stop because it's not part of the same list. Now, I don't actually want it to do those. I want it to select these. So I will just tell Excel exactly what I want it to do. This time I've been choosing a horizontal selection rather than a vertical one. So I've gone from C6 to G6 equals average C6 to G6. So I'm starting in cell C6, which is Monday's cappuccino sales, and I'm going to include Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and end up in G6, which is Friday's cappuccino sales. When I'm happy that I've included everything, I'll press the Enter key, and there we have my cursor on the cell. It's the average sales across the 5 days was £541.27. But in the formula bar, it tells me average of C6 to G6. So I'm now going to copy that. I'm going to do the same calculation, but this time for the mochaccino. So I'm going to come back under here. I'm going to choose average. And this time it's found a number to the left, but I don't want that. I'm just going to come to the mochaccino column row and select those. So I'm going from C7 to G7, 1 row below. Press enter and my average sales for cappuccino was £229.45. We'll do the same for the Americano. As you can see, it's quite a straightforward process, and I can go on and do the same sum, the same kind of sum for each type of drink in my list until I've completed them all. So that's how you find the average of a range of numbers. Now I could also find an average of a particular group. So over here I could do an average here just to demonstrate of the Friday takings. So now I'm just getting an average of all the money that was taken on Friday, and that will do that average for me there. I'm just going to get rid of that because it's not what I want. So that's how I get the average. And in order to get the average yourself, you'd have had to know how many values there were, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'd have had to add them all up, divide the total by 5, and that would have given you the average. So now I'm going to look for the minimum, which is the smallest value in a list. So I want to know on which of the values is the smallest value in the list. So I'm going to use AutoSum again and choose min for minimum. Again, it's found a number above, but I want the cappuccino numbers. So I'm going to select those. And Excel has found that the smallest value was 236. And if I look along here, I can see that's Tuesday. I sold less cappuccinos. So now I'm going to look for the minimum for the mochachinos. And the smallest number was actually Monday. I'm going to do the same thing for the Americanos and also for lattes. And finally, the smallest number from all the days of the sales of hot chocolate. So as you can see, really easy to find those things. And lastly, we're going to look for the largest number in my list. So here I want Excel to pick out the largest number in that list, and this is called max. So I'm going to go and look for the maximum sales of cappuccino. That was £854, which was on Wednesday. And now I'll do the maximum sales of mochaccino, and that's 412, which was actually Thursday. We'll do the maximum sales for the Americano, and that's £654, which was Wednesday. And we'll do the maximum sales for lattes, which was on Wednesday as well. And oh, because I chose the wrong row. So let's redo that one. We'll go into max. And there we got lattes. And it's just so happens it's the same number. I thought I'd done it wrong. So let's go for maximum here of hot chocolates. And the maximum hot chocolates, 498, was actually Monday. So here I've got the average sales for each of those, the minimum sales for each of those, and the maximum sales for each of those.